awoke with a gasp. I was drenched in sweat. I didn't know where I was. What day was it? What time was it? It was one of my nights that my sleep was so deep, I didn't know if it was real or if it was a dream. I was in church. I was in this church, and I was in my priestly garb here at St. John's, and someone else was celebrating, I don't know who, and then this person who was introducing me maybe or welcoming me, they mentioned that I was giving the homily. But I had forgotten that somehow. And I had nothing, absolutely nothing prepared. And so I frantically grabbed a children's coloring page out of the pew and started writing down notes frenetically. And I just wanted to get a few things down to create some semblance of a sermon. I was a mess. And I can't remember what happened next. But I was very grateful to discover that indeed it was just a dream and not the reality for our first worship together. Whew! Well, this dream from last month kept bubbling up for me as I studied our readings for today, reminding me of both Paul's letter and Matthew's gospel, our humanness, God's mercy and grace. Because Paul lays it all out there today. He says, I do not understand my actions. And biblical scholars debate if Paul is talking strictly about himself or about Adam and the fall from grace. But whether it's personal or an origin story, Paul shares a wrestling, a desire to do what's right, but falls short. He goes back and forth in his dialogue, and then he claims that really it's beyond him. He can't help it. His humanness gets in the way. And so he acknowledges at the end that it's only God that can rescue him from his body of death. And what that means is, what it translates to is, the only way through is leaning into God's never-ending, always there, grace and mercy for us. And then our gospel. We sense Jesus's frustration right off the bat. In leading people toward a path of love, he finds them not listening, not responding to his teachings. And so he likens them to distracted children. Then he lifts up John the Baptist, who was jailed at the time, and how people criticized him for being so wild. Yes, with his outfits and diet, but especially with his strong-armed and stern teachings. And Jesus says, you didn't like his delivery, and yet here I come, not John the Baptist at all by my nature. I come with a different way to share God's love and peace, and you call me a drunkard and too inclusionary because I eat with tax collectors and I'm too soft on sin. So how can anybody win? Well, it would be understandable to be Jesus and be frustrated. We can imagine his urgency to share with the world that when you follow him, your burden is lightened. If you listen and follow the way, you'll live a beautiful life of wholeness in God. And this way of loving one another, of lifting one another up, of creating justice and peace for people everywhere, honoring our gifts, our unique gifts and how we share them with the world, forgiveness, extending mercy. This way, this path is so freeing when we are obedient to it. And all Jesus wants to do is have people understand this and come aboard. Now, it doesn't mean that this way is a walk in the park. Yesterday, we commemorated our nation's 250th anniversary. And for sure, it came with mixed feelings for some of us. Our country seems so far away from democracy, justice, and welcoming the stranger, the building blocks of what this country was founded on. As Episcopalians, we're dedicated to creating God's dream on earth, which also includes some of the values we hold dear in the United States. This week, our bishop wrote in her 4th of July reflection, she said, "Perhaps freedom and justice remain aspirational values, but they are without question Christian values. We invoke our motto, we lead with love, because God is love. And when we exercise love in action, we mark ourselves as followers of Christ." And so yesterday, when hundreds of masked white nationalists marched on Pennsylvania Avenue ahead of the 4th of July festivities, we are called to speak out against the unjust denigration of our democracy and freedom. And when we sing our closing hymn today that Anna Marie so appropriately chose, we sing with more passion and hope than ever before. Lift Every Voice and Sing was written to inspire hope for freedom from the horrors of slavery. And unfortunately, it still addresses current racist contexts. Therefore, we sing with a deep understanding of God's call to pray for all those marginalized and suffering, and to work faithfully and tirelessly to level the playing fields. So I do believe on the 250th anniversary of the United States, we are called more than ever to live by the Christian values we hold dear. And while we may get disheartened, we'll be discouraged, maybe frustrated, we know from our scriptures that we are called to stay the course. We do all that we can, and we remember that God is with us. Through the heartache, through the humanness, the slow, very slow turning of the tides that it takes for all to follow the way of love. We are in this together. St. John's, we're going to experience all the things together starting now. So today, as we begin our faith adventure, it's my hope for us to live as authentically as we can. This means we experience joy as well as frustration, and exuberance as well as discouragement. And we lean into one another, and we lean into our faith to guide us. There are 4 takeaways from today's readings to support us on our new journey together. Number 1, we are human, and we won't always get it right. Number 2, thanks be to God, God's love and mercy are always freely given to us. Number 3, we are called to emulate God's gifts of extending love and mercy toward others and toward ourselves. And number 4, we cannot give up on God's dream, and we are here to support one another in actualizing that dream. Our journey begins. What a gift to be called as your 21st rector. Thank you so much. Unlike my scary dream, this is a dream come true. And I am so glad I came prepared with a sermon. Amen.